Good morning and welcome to Deck Pass Live presented by AT&T. The United States Olympic swimming team is almost complete with the final night of competition this evening. Each member of the team gets to sign the Rio flip-flop, and with confirmation of many of second place finishers and relay spots, there was a signing frenzy last night. I'm Caitlin Sandino. Thanks for joining us on our last episode of Deck Pass Live. There are no prelims left to swim, just a pair of finals tonight. So let's get started with Carolyn Joyce for what we have to look forward to. So only two events, and they couldn't be more opposite. We have the men's 1500 and the women's 50 free. Let's take a look at the men's 1500.
Yeah, the men's 1500, we have Connor Yeager in that race, and he is our heavy favorite. You know, Connor's been very consistent over the last 4 years. He competed and finaled in this race in London 4 years ago, and no question in my mind that he'll be in there. I think a really cool guy that we have seated second is Jordan Wolimovsky. Jordan has already qualified in the open water race, and we've never had somebody simultaneously qualify in open water and pool racing ever before. So it'll be, I think that second place is maybe kind of wide open, but I would love to see Jordan sneak in there.
All right, so what about the 50? Let's go completely opposite. Let's go the women's 50 freestyle. One lap. Who do we got?
Women's 50 freestyle, finally, we've been waiting. We've all been waiting 8 days for this,
Yes.
or maybe it's just me. We have Madison Kennedy, we have Abby Weitzel. So these two ladies both dipped under 24.4 last night.
Wow.
Incredibly fast race.
Right.
We've never had two swimmers under that 24.4 mark at the same time ever before.
Wow.
And this is also the fastest that women have swum the 50 free since 2008 when Dara set the American record. So I think it's going to be a fantastic heat tonight. Simone in there with a 24.5, which is nothing to snuff about. That's still a very fast swim. So I'm personally really excited about this race. And Madison Kennedy, a former teammate of mine, a little bit older, she's 28. To make her first Olympic team would be incredible at her age.
Last night, the winners of the 4 finals on this schedule already had made the team in the case of Michael Phelps, Katie Ledecky, and Maya Dorado. They won for their 3rd time here. Nathan Adrian picked up his 2nd win as well. So, Kara, let's take a look at all the multiple winners in our Deck Pass Live Best of the Trials, presented by AT&T. So we have our obvious, the men's 200 IM, Michael Phelps. You know, Phelps with all these impressive swims this week. What do you think about what he put together here in Omaha?
This race, this was one of the marquee races, head-to-head, Phelps and Lochte. You know, everyone was on their feet cheering.
Right.
Not necessarily the fastest times. I think both of those guys realized that they can probably go a lot faster in Rio, which is encouraging. But that was just, you know, a great race. It's iconic in our sport to see those guys go head-to-head.
Men's 200-meter butterfly. So this was when he first got up on the block. The crowd had been waiting.
Yeah.
He puts together this fantastic swim. Again, we think that he probably wasn't super pumped with it, knows he can probably do better in Rio. What do you think of this race?
I mean, Michael Phelps still wins by body length at 31, at 31 in his best event, the event that he qualified for his very first Olympic Games in, and he's swum at every Olympics since. I think he finished 5th place in 2000 and has won many times since then.
So now we're moving on to Katie Ledecky, who obviously had a very impressive race. In the 200 freestyle, she had just a very, very powerful swim.
Yeah, she's just been a favorite every event that she's been in. I guess aside from the 100 freestyle, she's been the favorite and wins by body lengths. I mean, what she's doing now, we have never seen a woman do, and it's just the dominance that she has, not only on the national stage, but internationally, can't be touched.
And her 400 freestyle, you know, not very far off that world record line.
Yeah.
And also being actually pushed this time a little bit, having Leah Smith behind her. But I just felt like her 400, she was strong from start to finish. But I feel like I say that about every single race that she does. And
Yeah.
then last night in her 800 freestyle, she's crazy below world record pace. The crowd's going, you know, wild for it. So she always just puts in.
Her 800 last night was her 10th swim of the meet. And I
Jeez.
talked to her, I'm like, you must be tired by now.
All right, let's get to Maya Dorado. Now, Maya, I was so impressed by Maya. She qualifies in the 200 IM, the 400 IM, the 200 back. She was kind of, for me, like my surprise swimmer. I've been hearing about her a lot, but she comes up and she does these amazing swims, and she's qualifying in really challenging events as well.
She is. You know, she was was kind of an unknown going into this meet.
Right.
I mean, she had been swimming well leading up to it, but
Sure.
never done anything
At
like
this stage.
at this stage.
Right.
Exactly. And look at pure dominance there. Absolutely no question that she's a medal contender in all 3 of the events that she won: 200 IM, 400 IM.
Definitely.
And then we saw her in this 200 backstroke.
And I just love her attitude. She's such a great interview. She's just so poised. She's so positive, and she's just a great role model.
She is.
So let's move to Nathan Adrian. He's always so exciting to watch.
Yeah, Nathan Adrian, his signature event, he won the gold medal in this 4 years ago, the men's 100 freestyle. And I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that Nathan's going to be another medal contender in this race. His former teammate and good friend, Anthony Irvin, the oldest guy in this meet, qualified for his first event on this relay. And we'll actually talk about him next.
The 50 free last night, what were you expecting? Were you expecting Nathan to take that win?
Oh, yeah, I was expecting Nathan to get in there, and I was really hoping for Anthony, but that race was incredible.
All right, let's move to Ryan Murphy. Ryan Murphy, also somebody that's kind of breaking his way on the scene, qualifying in the 100 backstroke and also the 200 backstroke. What are your thoughts about his performances this week?
I think in our country, we always have that dominant backstroke guy. You know, it's not somebody different in the 100 and 200, and I think Murphy is our new backstroke king. We've had Pearsall, we've had Grievers, and I think, it's the changing of the guard. Now it's Murphy's time.
It was really cool interviewing Ryan. He made a comment that Aaron Pearsall was texting him before the meet, pumping him up, and he's like, wow, to get a text from Aaron Pearsall and then to be able to celebrate with your teammate. It's just so cool to see this true emotion from these guys.
Yeah.
And then our final swimmer that we're highlighting, Lily King, qualifying in the 100 breaststroke and the 200 breaststroke.
Yeah, a freshman out of Indiana. Lily King, very, very strong in these races. And I love the confidence that she had on her approach to both her 100 and 200.
Right.
No question in her mind that she was going to come home with that win, start right from the get-go with that early speed and then, kept her endurance up.
Now, do you think she'll be somebody that we'll see on the podium in Rio?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially with that 105 low, she 100% has a chance. And like we talked about, those breaststroke races always come down to who times the finish.
Yes.
So it'll be great to watch that unfold.
Well, obviously an incredible week of racing here in Omaha with one more night to go. Kara, we thank you. I really appreciate your information and insight on the competition every morning, and I know our viewers have, so I'd be lost without you. Thank you for your expertise.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much, Caitlin.
Yes. One thing I have really enjoyed is watching the great features from USA Swimming's high-performance consultant, Russell Mark. I hope my Lake Forest Dolphins have been paying attention to these films. Get ready as we feature today's on starts. Ready? Take your marks.
Take your mark.
The start in the 50 free is of obvious critical importance. Here, Simone Manuel does a fantastic job generating speed off the block and translating that into the water. Starting with high hips and eyes looking down, she pulls with her arms such that her elbows move towards her ribs. Her shoulders move forward, but not up, allowing her to jump in the most effective direction. Having good mechanics on and off the blocks will lead to that perfect entry. One way to evaluate your start is doing diving glides, as demonstrated by Abby Weitzel. It's a great way to learn the best body position in that transition from above to underwater. Time yourself to a specific distance and aim to improve on that. Whether you swim the 50 free or 1500 free, everyone can benefit from this kind of focus in your start work.
Thanks again to Russell Mark for his contribution to our show. Really great stuff. All right, what I've been waiting for all week. Irby, I got to keep it together for this. Now joining me on the set is one of the all-time greatest swimming coaches, someone who has had an influence on so many other swimmers here this week and countless Olympians, like myself and many, many more. For me personally, Irby, one of my favorite stories is when we were swimming in Michigan. It would be like negative 2 degrees, snow. We'd be walking into practice, 6 a.m., you're in a t-shirt, board shorts, and flip-flops. You come walking in on the pool deck, you're like, oh, what a beautiful day, every morning. And I think that summarizes your attitude. Every day is a beautiful day.
But prior to that, Caitlin, I would be out running at 5 o'clock in the morning in minus 25 with the wind chill. They're coming in there to the warm pool. It was exciting. So I was wired. I was hot.
Yeah, you were getting us like when we were like sleeping our eye and you're like already ran 5 miles.
Had my cappuccino and I'm ready to go.
John claims that he is putting away his stopwatch and is going to move on past the pool deck. But we wanted to hear what people had to say about you, John. Take a look.
I wasn't.
John, Irby.
You know I'd use another name for you, but we're on TV.
John Urbanchek. Apparently they're saying this is a good farewell speech to say goodbye to you. Yeah, right.
When I was being recruited by you to come to Ann Arbor, the rumor on the street was that you were going to retire back then. That was 17 years ago. And you said, who said that?
I've known John for 50 years. He was my very first swim coach.
Remember the first time you walked on deck, I was a little bit scared.
And everyone was just referring to you as the geezer, but in like such an affectionate way. Like, hey, get over here, you geezer.
In warm-up or something before a race, it just doesn't feel good. And you'll look at me with a super serious look on your face and be like, you don't need to feel good to swim fast. Feeling only matters in lovemaking.
John Urbanchek, I love you. You're a great guy. You're like the Yoda of swimming.
The sound of your voice on the pool deck is something that I'm never going to forget. I will always have those memories, and I'm going to miss seeing you around all the time.
I'll never forget the day in the middle of practice when I was in the middle of one of your really hard color sets. I was dying and going back and forth, barely had time to stop on the wall, and I look over, halfway through it, and your shoe is off and it's in the water, and you're kind of like inching it along the surface of the water, and I finally came in and had time to ask you what was happening, and then you go, hey, look, my shoe is swimming faster than you.
Hey, John, congratulations. Just wanted to thank you for everything you did for USA Swimming, bud.
Thanks for everything. You're awesome.
Thank you so much, John, for always killing me in practice but making me smile.
Thanks for everything you've done for swimming, because you've changed the way we think about training. You've helped so many great athletes reach the top level, and you've inspired an entire generation of coaches.
I think we can all say that we've learned more from spending 10 minutes with you than a lot of us have ever learned in a textbook or seen anywhere on a drawing.
I've never seen anyone that cares more about the athletes, not only the athletes that you directly coached, but all the other athletes, and never really cared about yourself.
I can only hope to have the impact on not just the sport, but the people in it, the way that you do, the warmth that you give to people.
Of course, I learned a ton in the water, but I learned so much about life from you.
Thank you for everything that you've ever done for me since I was 12 years old, coming to swim camp, until I was in high school swimming with your college boys.
For every Michigan man whose living room that you sat in, gave your word, and showed us how to keep it, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
You're an absolute national treasure. I love you. I love my time with you. You may or may not know this, but you've been like a second father to me.
Your footprint on my heart, I could just never explain to you. Having you at my wedding, priceless.
John, I can tell you is the same person today that he was 50 years ago when I was young, and the most incredible coach that I've ever had the honor to spend time with.
Thank you, John, for everything that you've done for the athletes of the sport of swimming. You're truly an inspiration to all. Keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Hey, move it, buddy.
We'll miss hearing "keep it moving" on the pool deck. Thanks.
One is, thank you, my man. We love you, and I'll see you on the pool deck in the fall.
John Urbanchek, everybody. John Urbanchek. And I have tears in my eyes. I think this is my biggest challenge as my new anchor, is trying not to cry doing this interview. All right, Irby, let me see if I can pull it together.
Okay.
All right, let's just keep the cameras on Irby. He's cuter anyways. Irby.
Nobody's cuter than you. Come on.
50 years of coaching experience. I can't even form the words to that. 22 years as the head coach at Michigan. What's your favorite part of coaching?
Oh, God, it's hard to explain in one word. But I'm going to go back to your first question about retirement and dropping my stop. My goal was to coming with my stopwatch tomorrow morning, which is my last workout, formal workout, and I was going to say, John, out, and throw the stopwatch to the ground, shatter the stopwatch. I'm not going to be like Kobe, but I learned a lot from Kobe, how to part without cries. Just,
oh my goodness!
I'm out of here.
We all we laugh at that though, saying, yeah. He says he's out of here. He'll be back on the deck. Does it sink into you what a difference you've made in so many of our lives? Do you know that?
Yeah, you know what difference every one of you made on me. That's hardest for me to walk away because I miss it. You know, I never had a son, so any given year I will have, or any given day I might have 20 to 25 boys.
You didn't have a son, you had
They're
1,000 sons. How many kids did you coach?
Son, sometimes that's some SOBs, but you know, boys are always going to be boys. Make up for all the other ones. That's all. They all grow up. 10 years later, you look back.
Oh my God.
What a great guy.
It's day 8. Caitlin's crying. John's dropping
Yeah.
SOBs. It's just a great day here on Deck
No,
Pass
I
Live.
said that. I said it lovingly. I love those
I know,
guys.
we
Just
do.
like Clete Keller. I
Yes.
never had more hugs in my entire life from anybody, including my wife probably, that I got from Clete Keller.
Good.
I mean, that's just it's so much fun to watch you guys grow up. Carol Lynn, she
Yes.
came to our camps at 11 years old.
Yes.
The next thing you know, she moved into our city, Ann Arbor, Michigan, and made it to the Olympic team. And I just watched you guys growing up. I'm watching your mom you guys have to hear this, okay? Caitlin introduced her mom to 400 little age group swimmers and parents. She said, "This is the greatest mom. She's clueless about swimming. She only cared with my caps and goggles, my suit matches." Caitlin, that's you.
Yeah.
You never showed up on deck or a swim meet without everything matching. That goes to your mom.
It does. She's watching right now. She's one of your biggest fans.
Hi, Mom. Love you.
All right, so I stopped crying. I'm going to change the topic a little bit because I
Oh,
want to
good.
hear.
Let's move
I
on.
want to hear about your personal swimming background because you swam at the University of Michigan, 59 to 61.
I can't really that much. I can't say that much about my performance in Michigan. I did get a second place in the 1650 freestyle.
Mile swimmer.
A mile swimmer. So I still have that trademark. John is a distance coach, but many of people out there, I'm sure you do, but many of them don't know that I have as many 50 and 100 championship medals in Michigan
Yes.
as I have a 500 free forehand IM and a 1650. But I'm still called the distance coach. I'm a middle distance coach. Sometimes I go down, sometimes I go up, but I'm kind of in the middle.
You do it all.
Yeah.
Speaking of doing it all, you have been on the last 7 Olympic teams on the coaching staff. The last 7 Olympics, Irby. Can you even pick out which was your favorite? Is that even a possible
I got
question?
it.
Oh,
I'm
he's got
prepared
it.
for this one because I
Ooh.
get this question all the time.
Okay.
My best one, the last one.
Okay.
You know, they say in sports, you're as good as your last ball game, right? Well, our last ball game was unbelievable in London. That was awesome. And that video with the kids group I made up, the Call Me Maybe.
Yes, the Call Me Maybe video.
That was the outgrowth of the chemistry we had on that team. I felt like every time we stepped on the plane, everybody put their ego up on the hook before you stepped on the plane. All the coaches, all the athletes, and that video was really the reflection how the entire team felt. I never felt better, so I figured that was a good time to go out on the top. That's almost like Seinfeld. I call it the Seinfeld syndrome. Are you watching Seinfeld? I do. Now, if Seinfeld would have gone down in the ratings, nobody would bother to watch Seinfeld.
Seinfeld, Kobe Bryant, you think
yeah.
pop culture is unbelievable. I have to brag about you though, Irby. You have 44 swimmers that have represented their native country, and those swimmers won 20 medals and 11 of them gold.
I'm
Wow.
glad you told me that because I don't know. I don't keep track of that. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
What is your
What's really, I'm sorry, but what really matters is not the records you take, the trophies you have, the medals you have. I'm looking for the friendship you have. I remember the friendship. The medals will tarnish.
Of course.
Your records, Michael, is going to be broken. I guarantee you that. I don't care when, but it's going to be broken. But the connection we have, the friendship we take with us, that is what I would like to remember the rest of my life.
Well, I was going to ask you what is your coaching philosophy, but I feel like you just kind of said it all right there. But let's talk about the
you
physical
have to,
side.
okay, so going back to the question, okay, you have to have a passion for the sport.
Yes.
You have to have patience.
Yes.
I've known Michael for the last 20 years, and I can see what Bob had to go through for 20 years. And we have to have patience, and you have to have a plan. You have to know what the heck you're doing.
Right.
Yeah. So that's all you have to do in swimming.
You have to be organized.
And you have to be funny. And I'll tell you one more story, and
Please
then
do.
then I'm going to get off the air. So preparing for this the trials, you have you're tapering. Okay, we have 8-lane pool, 7 lanes, 8-lane pools going on. 7 different workouts because it had to meet your needs. Everybody needs something different. They need a little personal touch, a little pat on the back, and a kick in the fanny. And so we have a 7-ring circus. But then I may get the 8-ring circus. You see the clown coming in. I'm the clown coming in, and I keep the show moving.
Keep it moving.
Yeah, keep it moving. That's my motto. Keep it moving.
Irby, obviously my tears say it enough.
And
We
I love
No,
you.
Stop
I
it.
love
I'm
you
not going to finish this. You heard from so many of your swimmers. What would you like to tell your swimmers?
Yeah, I loved it. I loved every one of you. You know, that's what I lived for. So that's what kept me going. I'm gonna miss that the most. Okay, I miss the association, but I have a family. I have my horse I've neglected the last 30 years. I'm gonna spend some time with my horse. That was my hobby.
You said your plan is no plan.
Yeah, the only plan I have right now is I have a ticket tomorrow morning to fly back to LA. I'll land at 8 o'clock. I'm hoping to see all the fireworks coming into LAX over the coast there. So that's going to be my day tomorrow. After that, I have no clue what I'm going to do.
And I think you deserve a little vacay.
Well,
little
thank you.
vacay, Irby.
Yeah, thank you. Love
Irby,
you. Yeah.
I can't believe I just had to do that. That was the hardest thing I think I've ever had to do.
You guys been awesome. This is
Thank you.
this is the first time I watched a podcast here. Yeah, but it was awesome.
Thank you, Irby.
Love you. Yeah.
Everybody, the legend, John Urbanchek.
Later, move it.
Whew. All right, Caitlin, pull this together. We want to thank you, the viewers, the followers on Twitter, and everyone out there who has been following us along on our coverage here at the U.S. Olympic Team Trials all week. It has truly been an amazing experience for me, and we couldn't have done it without you. Remember, for all the latest videos, news, and photos, continue to visit us at usaswimming.org. I'm Caitlin Zandino, and I thank you for joining us on Deck Pass Live, presented by AT&T.